backtracking. So keen was Jones to keep Daly at bay that he locked up at the hairpin on lap 1, took them both wide and allowed Matt Parks, winner here 12 months ago, through into the race lead. Behind, the likes of Ben Huntley and Tom Griffiths were starting to make their presence felt, while Stephen Daly was briefly down to 5th halfway around the opening lap. The wily Scotsman was never far away from the front though and put in a canny performance to gradually work his way back up the order. Started with a nice move up the inside of Tom Griffiths into the hairpin to go into 4th position. Whilst behind, David May was having a surprisingly lacklustre day, off the Masters podium for the first time this year. For the race lead, Ian Jones had a dive up the inside and tagged the back of Matt Parks' car, and this set off a spectacular sequence of events which saw Ben Huntley take to the grass and, after a bit of rubbing with Jones, move into the lead of the race. Daly was up to 3rd, but there was damage on Jones's car. Sadly, that would eventually put him out of the race altogether. It was a dramatic moment, one that the drivers would be discussing for a long time after the race. But the damage was done for Jones, and his car was never going to make it to the end of the race. With Jones out of it, that left Huntley to fend off Daly for the race lead. It wasn't long before Stephen was alongside, but then disaster, contact was made, and this set off another spectacular chain of events, which eventually would see Tom Griffiths come through into the race lead after Matt Parks was elbowed onto the grass once again. Somehow Daly was still in 2nd position, and there were still 5 cars debating 1st position, with Wayne Flint having another strong performance that weekend. It was so close at the front of the field and Daly was throwing everything at Griffiths. A mistake down at Brundle and Nelson though would relinquish the pressure from the race leader, whilst Daly's slow exit split the pack again. Huntley for the 2nd time was on the grass going into the bomb hole. This time he picked up 3rd position with no contact. With Parks into 2nd place, things looked good for the winner here last year. Sadly, a mechanical issue put him out of the race in the closing stages. That left the rest to fight over 2nd place, with Griffiths having now escaped up the road, and it was eventually Stephen Daly who got the better of the chasing pack to finish in the runners-up position. It was Griffiths though who took the victory, his first since Thruxton last year, and another race in which he had to fend off all comers to take the win. To say race 2 got off to a bang would be an understatement. Several drivers in the wars before they even reached turn 1. First it was Keith Towers, and then contact from Masters leader David May saw him spud into the barriers heavily. In total, there were 5 drivers who didn't make it round lap 1, with John Attard and Simon Welch also involved. At the front of the field, Griffiths held on to the early advantage, while Stephen Daly had to fend off the attentions of a fired-up Wayne Flint, who was looking for his first ever victory in the category. There was some touchy-feely stuff in the opening exchanges as everybody tried to get the best track position they could early doors. Eventually it was Gordon McMillan who briefly moved into 3rd place in what was his best outing of the season so far. Further back, Matt Parks and Ian Jones were both moving up the field in unison, having started right at the back, but with just 15 minutes to do it, they faced a hard uphill struggle to score any meaningful points. Wayne Flint and Tom Griffiths, meanwhile, were now fighting for 2nd, with Stephen Daly having got a race lead that he would not relinquish to the flag. Flint was eventually able to move into 2nd position on the inside of Griffiths, with a nice move at Agostini that he completed at the next corner. Jones and Parks, meanwhile, had now swapped positions. That's how they'd stayed to the flag, eventually finishing 13th and 14th respectively, whilst Wayne Flint faced heartbreak, catching the race leader. His engine let him down and he was out of the race in the most tragic of fashion. All of this left Daly to take a reasonably unchallenged victory, with Tom Griffiths 2nd and Gordon McMillan getting his first podium of the year. Grey skies and damp conditions threatened to spoil race 3, but it still turned out to be another fantastic 15 minutes of racing, with action from start to finish. On a partially reversed grid, it didn't take Stephen Daly long to get back to the front of the field, whilst behind 1 or 2 were struggling in the greasy conditions. Paul Maguire was having a good weekend, 4th in race 2, he was into 3rd in the early stages of race 3, before eventually dropping to 5th by the flag. Keith Tyres, though, wasn't having such a positive day. A bad exit onto the back straight meant he lost a handful of positions, including one to the recovering Ben Huntley, fresh from a disqualification in race 2. All eyes, though, were on Wayne Flint. Having started right at the back of the field, the 55 car was carving through the order, working his way into the top 10 by the flag, although things did get a bit physical at times. The wave of apology to Matt Flowers probably did little to settle Matt's temper, but Flowers was able to rejoin, albeit severely delayed. Wayne Flint's charge came a little unstuck when he came up against Gordon McMillan. He looked to have made the move of the day up the middle of McMillan and Mikey Doble, with Doble Jr. ending up on the grass coming out of Agostini. However, McMillan fought back and the pair would trade positions on several occasions throughout the second half of the race in what was one of the best battles of the weekend. Every time Flint looked to have made the move stick, McMillan was always keen to fight straight back. Brilliant example of wheel-to-wheel racing though. Great respect from the drivers. Flint will eventually be better than McMillan in 7. Daly though took his second victory of the weekend to pull clear in the championship chase. Tom Griffiths once again joining him on the podium. Ian Jones meanwhile was 3rd, on a bad way to round out the weekend, but it started pretty poorly with that non-finish in race 1. That then brings us to a sunny Croft here in Yorkshire for 2 rounds Cup. Here is how the grid lines up for our first race, with Ian Jones and Matt Parks making up row 1. Ben Huntley and Oliver Fowler with his season best qualifying effort is on row 2, with Stephen Daly down on row 3 with the spectacular Wayne Flint. Tom Griffiths, winner last time, is on row 4 with Paul Maguire, then David Sharp and Gordon McMillan. Raymond Dow and David May round out the top dozen cars. Mike Doble and Reece Clayton are next ahead of Matt Flowers and Mark Skeets, then Keith Towers and Doble Senior on the 9th row, ahead of Reedy McMillan and Martin Gadsby on row 10. Tom Middleton and Aaron Morgan are next, then John King and Jim Barrett on what is another packed grid of over 30 cars entered here this weekend, but with a championship situation that's starting to get more and more intense as we move into the second half of the season. This is when the business starts to get serious. Well, the green flag then has been waved at the back of the grid. Several onboards to show you over the course of the race, which gets underway now with Matt Parks on the outside of row 1 trying to beat Ian Jones to the first corner. He might be able to do it, but there's contact further back. Oh, Matt Flowers is off into the pit wall. Thankfully not too much damage done, but that is a driver's worst nightmare, pointing the wrong way as the race gets underway. The leaders, though, are heading through Clervaux for the first time, and Ian Jones is refusing to give way here to Matt Parks, who in turn is trying his best to stay around the outside at Hawthorne. Eventually, though, he has to duck back in line. You can't go side by side through the chicane without taking a huge risk of making contact, and it leads to several drivers doing what David May has just done, and taking the shortcut there to avoid any contact through that high-speed sequence of corners. Towers then down, back straight towards Tower Corner. Jones leading the way. That was Ben Huntley up the inside, but Ian Jones has locked up and gone wide and hands that lead that he fought so hard for in the opening few corners, hands it straight back over to Matt Parks, who's back out in front. Huntley has got the better of Oliver Fowler, with Oliver having actually briefly got himself ahead of Ben Huntley through the first sequence of corners, with Huntley back into a podium position now, and he really could do with a good result. His championship campaign has somewhat been derailed with that disqualification that Sexton last time out. Huntley, he's a quick driver, loves some race victories, he's already onto the tail of the leading 2, who are starting to hold each other up. It's a 4-car train for the lead, then it's Flint, and look at Daly. Stephen Daly out wide there, almost onto the grass going out of Sunny, has dropped down to about 7th position. This is a disastrous start to the race for the man who is the points leader arriving here at Croft. He's going to need every one of those points that he's got as a cushion, I think, because this is not turning into a good weekend already. Front though is turning into a really good race. Oliver Fowler back up the inside of Ben Huntley for 3rd place. There's going to be contact, surely. Yes, there is. Huntley does well to save the car, but Fowler is alongside now. Will he give the position back? Will Huntley be able to fight back anyway? They're still sort of side by side, I think, across the start-finish line, with Parks leading the way. Jones second. Fowler is into 3rd, and actually into 4th. But it looks to me, yes, maybe Flint ahead of lead to lead Huntley. So that really did cost Ben Huntley some time there. Through the curbs. Heavy hit of those curbs through Clervaux Corner. And towards Hawthorne they go. Real jumble of the order there in the opening lap or so then, and now Wayne Flint drifts a bit wide. Ben Huntley's up the inside, but has to back out of it surely. Yes, he does. Back on board with Keith Towers now. That's Mikey Doble, I think. Oh, who collects that tyre stack. He's not the only one, I think, because several cars are onto the grass. That was a scary moment for Keith Towers. Very nearly had a big accident there, just trying to avoid the big accident that nearly happened in front of him. Fowler then into third place with a robust move at the hairpin at the end of the previous lap. But now he's got the difficult task of trying to close in on the leading two. Very quick Jim Clark S's they go down towards Barcroft then. The top two staying nose to tail here, Parks and Jones. Ian Jones, another driver who could well do with a good result here after the non-finish that he had at Snetterton. He was able to recover to 13th in race 2 and that fantastic third place finish onto the podium in race 3. Aaron Morgan is sideways there. That's going to be a really big moment if he's not too careful. Nice save by Aaron Morgan. He's all more impressive by the fact he's driving that car with hand controls, but there's more drama behind. And that's a spin there, I'm afraid, for Brendan Murphy. He finds himself now stranded in the middle of the road. So the far end of the circuit, not a place you really want to be having a moment like that. It's the fastest part of the circuit, that. Several drivers getting it wrong in the early stages. Speaking of the drivers getting it wrong, well, there are several getting it right towards the front of the field. Look, they're all ganging up on each other again now. And Oliver Fowler, with a really good lap there, is able to close in actually on the top two. On board just now as he drops down into Clervaux Corner for the third time of asking. Really do put these tyres and suspension through some punishment through this first sector in particular. You really do hammer those curbs. Fowler then looking racy here, the black and yellow car that we haven't seen racing at the sharp end of the field all that often. He's had a couple of top 10 finishes so far in 2019, but nothing particularly to write home about here at Croft. He is the real form then. To the tail now of the top two as they round tower once again, and that is Stephen Daly. Stephen Daly, the championship leader, is off the road at the chicane and out of the race. This is an absolute nightmare for Stephen Daly. This will be the first time that he's been off the podium all year, and it's going to be a non-finish now. Thankfully, he can count this as one of his dropped scores, but that car looked fairly badly damaged. One would hope that he can get back out there for race 2. That is not a given by any means, and this could put a real hole in his championship campaign as well. All of a sudden, for the likes of Matt Parks and Ian Jones at the front of the field, the race victory now takes on extra significance. They won't yet know that Daly is out of the race, but the next time they come around the chicane, they'll see the reigning champion 64 car parked at the side of the road, and they will know that this is a golden opportunity now to try and get some championship points back. Ian Jones, remember, arrives here 5th in the points. He's a long way back, but if he can get a race victory here, that could change everything. To the racing now, though, as they come through Tower. Oliver Fowler not relinquishing the pressure here from Ian Jones in front of him, Ian, one of the veterans of the championship. Oliver very much not so. A quick youngster. Seems to have got to grips with this daunting Croft circuit, but Ian Jones has also got good pace this weekend. He's all over the back of Matt Parks as they go into Sunny, and Matt has to really throw the car across the road there to get to the inside and defend. Ben Huntley locks up and runs wide at the back of the queue as well. This is a really tricky situation for the likes of Ian Jones here, because he's trying to attack the lead but also trying to keep Oliver Fowler behind. And you see that move that he attempted into Sunny, it didn't work, it cost him momentum, and it's brought Oliver back onto his rear bumper now. Yellow flags out at the final sector. Is that because of that debris there? No, I think we're going to get a safety car possibly here as a result of Stephen Daly's stricken car coming through the chicane. So the safety car is on standby, and yes, we will require one because the rescue unit's there to pick up Stephen and get his car out of the way. So the safety car then is being scrambled. Stephen may be a little winded, I think more than anything frustrated about the situation with the championship and the race. The car being damaged now as well. That's a massive operation, that self-run team, family-run team. So really count pennies when there's a situation like that. Quite possible as well that as he's hit that tyre stack, he may have hurt his wrist, because the wheel would have had quite a bit of lock on it, and if you clip the tyre stack, it wrenches the steering wheel out of your hands, and you can do some damage to your arms and wrists. It's why a lot of time drivers will let go of the steering wheel when they realise they're on a one-way ticket to the barrier. That one would have come as a bit of a shock for Daly, and so he sure will be more or less fine, but that may, of course, also limit his chances of getting back out there for race 2 later on. So this has really thrown a bit of a cat amongst the pigeons now, to use an old catchphrase, but this is not what we expected to happen, I think it's safe to say. A season that's thrown everything at us that we thought we could expect. Well, this is a new one. Stephen Daly does not make mistakes. Stephen Daly does not retire from races, and yet he has retired from this race. We can't say for sure whether it was a mistake or not. Mark Skeets has got some damage as well. Look on the rear of his car. Mark Skeets was a Masters winner in 2 of 3 races at Snetterton last time out. In fact, the one that he didn't win, he was second behind Gordon McMillan. Gordon got his first outright podium finish of the season. McMillan is again, I think, leading the Masters contention in this race. Yes, he is. He's ahead of Skeets by a couple of positions. So McMillan there having a good season at the moment, and looking to try and keep building that momentum as we go through the middle part of the year. Here's the silver and black car there, just in front of the yellow of Mark Skeets. Works its way around behind the safety car. It's always a shame when we get safety cars in these short 15-minute races, because it lose a fair bit of the race's result. So, still, I'm sure we'll be able to cram plenty of entertainment into the second half of this one when we get going again, because we are now about halfway through this race already. And Matt Parks leads the way with Jones second, Fowler third, Flint fourth, and then Huntley, Maguire, Griffiths, Sharp and McMillan rounding out the top 10. Rest of the field streaming through though. Good to see some new names out there as well. It's also good to see that the lights already are off on the safety car, so it was a short safety car delay, and we are now about to go racing once again then in the first race of 2 this weekend for the Nankang Tyres BMW Compact Cup. Green flags fly, we're back underway once again with Matt Parks leading, Ian Jones right on his tail. The yellow flags are replaced by the green ones as the field flashes across the start-finish line. Down to turn number 1 they go. Ian Jones pulls out the slippery to apply the pressure to Matt Parks, trying to force a mistake out of the man who got his first victory in the category last year, but hasn't really been able to build up that sort of consistent championship challenge we maybe expected of him in 2019. Good to see a bit of a return to form though after a solid weekend at Snetterton that maybe didn't yield the results that he would feel he deserved. Down the hill into the braking zone. Jones to the outside into Tower, then Huntley there looking at the inside of Wayne Flint though. That was a nice opportunistic move. Flint was thinking about going around the outside of Oliver Fowler, I think, and a bit of contact on the exit of the corner. Doing so, that left the door open. The race leaders there side by side. Look at this, Ian Jones is alongside Matt Parks through the Jim Clark S's, and he's going to go through. Oliver Fowler might try and follow him here as well if he can. Down to Barcroft, no. Parks gets across to the inside and defends it nicely, and there's a spin, is there for Paul Maguire? Yes, he's going to go around, he's going to arrive at Sunny backward for more cars arriving. Oh, a big lose for Paul Maguire, who was very lucky not to make contact with anything. The lead battle, though, is still going on, and Matt Parks is trying everything he can to get back ahead of Ian Jones. Oliver Fowler goes to the outside of him, though. Now, you can go right around the outside here to get the inside for the right-hander, and that's no doubt what Fowler will try, and he's there as well. He's on the inside, but the next corner goes left. Parks is on the grass almost, then Huntley's joining in the fun too, and this is playing nicely into the hands of Ian Jones, who might be able to pull away at the front of the field now. How's this one going to settle out? Well, Parks is still second, and now Huntley's alongside Fowler for third, but Wayne Flint's got a run on the pair of them as they come onto the pit straight. In the end, that run comes to nothing though, so side by side for third position then. Fowler on the inside, Huntley on the outside. We're on board with Oliver as we drop down to the first corner, and the inside line should prevail. The question will be whether Huntley can get back in line. He's going to try and go right around the outside of Fowler for third place. They're leaning on each other again. The wing mirrors are getting batted this way and that, but Fowler is going to hang on to the spot, I'm sure of it. And where is Wayne Flint in all of this? Through the chicane, he is still behind Huntley. So Ben Huntley stays fourth, but that has definitely let the top 2 off the hook slightly now. Fair play to Ben Huntley there. He wasn't backing out of that. It's a great move to try and make it. You can go, in theory, right around the outside at Clervaux and Hawthorne, because then you can put your nose in front going to the chicane. You can command the corner and go through. That's a real risk, and it's a very difficult move to make stick unless you've got a significant speed advantage over the car in front, which of course these drivers don't, because the cars are all prepared to the exact same regulations. It is a one-make formula. That's what makes the racing so close. Everyone, still got a way to go in this race. And Fowler is pushing hard. He's on the grass though through Sunny, and Huntley needed no second invitation. got through into third position there. Easiest passes he will make all day. Off has gone James Stanbury though, down at Tower, and it looks as though there's damage on that car, as if maybe he's made contact with the barriers somewhere, or another car perhaps. Whether that was cause or effect of that moment though, we don't know, because there's been quite a bit of congestion on track, shall we say, in the early stages. Maybe led to that slightly crumpled front bumper. Third place battle then makes its way out of the hairpin. Huntley, Fowler and Flint third, fourth and fifth are on board, with Oliver Fowler now then off the podium for pretty much the first time this race. He made it sunny. He knows he's got the speed here. It's arguably his quickest race leaders, but he's got to get past Ben Huntley quickly if he's going to have any chance of challenging for really anything more than a third place, which would still be his first ever podium in the category though, so still well worth fighting for here. Wade Flint fighting for control of his car, I think, as he hit the loud pedal coming through Hawthorne there, very nearly lost the rear. It's a nicely controlled slide though through the corner in the end, back with Fowler now. Down the back straight towards Tower. He's surely going to defend the inside line, which he does, so Oliver goes to the outside. Now where does Wayne Flint feature into all of this? Quite close to take advantage really, so Fowler's able to take the wide line into Tower and then come back to a late apex, trying to carry some speed down to the Jim Clark S's. Not able to do that either, so positions stay as they were. The left and the right though, he's quicker through there, he's all over the back of Huntley. Huntley feeling the pressure now. Oh, into Barcroft, that's not a place you want to be making contact, and they're both on the grass. I don't believe it, they're both off in absolute sympathy with each other, and Huntley's into the barriers fairly heavily. That was a real case of synchronised spinning at the top of the track. Here's a replay. I don't think they made contact. They both just sort of goad each other into going to the corner a bit too quickly. And in perfect unison, they both go for a wild ride through the grass. Look at that. I have never seen anything like that in my life. And then bang, Huntley ends up in the barriers. Fowler is looking to avoid a similar fate, but Huntley, I think, is out of the race. Now, Fowler has rejoined. I'm not sure where, but he's certainly out of the podium battle now. And that, by my reckoning, will elevate Wayne Flint onto the podium. Having got his first podium last time out at Snetterton, he's now into third position. Amazingly, we're on to the final lap now. This race has absolutely flown by, and this is the fight then for third position. Wayne Flint versus Tom Griffiths, both of whom had podiums last time out at Snetterton. Then it's David Sharp into fifth position. What's David Sharp's best finish in the championship? I reckon it might not be fifth. I think that might be, it might become at least his best finish in several years now of racing in the championship. And here's Oliver Fowler, a long way back. Those two cars already heading onto the back straight, and he's only just turning into turn one with rather a high heart rate, I'd imagine, after that. That was a spectacular road, as you're ever likely to see. The fastest corner on the track, and they both went off the road. The checkered flag though flies, and it is going to be a victory for Ian Jones, a much needed victory at that, to try and bring himself further into championship contention. It is Park second, Flint third, Griffiths fourth, Sharp fifth, then McMillan, Skeets, May, Doble and Towers to round out the top 10. Parks gets the fastest lap, by the way, so it's not a bad effort for the second place man. Back meanwhile, Fowler ended up 17th out of that spin with Ben Huntley out of the fastest part of the track. Further back, Aaron Morgan recovered to 21st, whilst Huntley was a retirement, so too Brendan Murphy, and Tom Middleton also failed to make the finish, with James Stanbury disqualified in the end, and Stephen Daly, crucially, his first retirement of the season, the first time he's been off the podium all year, and his big rival Ian Jones gets the race win.
I'm at Alton Park.
I'd say it's a perfect race. Had a good battle with Matt, got a small gap, and that's how he stayed. He kept me honest. Good start to the day.
How did you feel when the safety car came out? Because obviously you did another lap before they managed to get to Stephen, so knowing that he's a friend of yours, did that run through your mind?
You looked over and saw Stephen's car, you saw him up and about, so you knew he wasn't too badly injured. In fairness, I don't think the safety car really affected Matt myself in the first 4 or 5, because we just queued it down into the first bend and everyone was sensible for a change.
So you got ahead of him come the safety car. Was that planned? Very tactical?
No, Matt outbraked himself into Tower, which is where he got the lead off me, so it was a bit of a revenge overtake, if you will.
We'll take that. So anything you need to do going into the next one tomorrow?
Have a cup of tea.
Well, we will join you in that, and congratulations again.
Thank you.
Congratulations again, Matt, on that race. That was quite an incredible one to watch. Can you talk us through it?
Sort of, if I can remember some of it. The start was a good start, got the initial jump on Ian, going into turn 1. but great respect was shown going in through turn 1. Enough space was provided for both of us to go through side by side. Stewart said we couldn't go through there 2 by 2 or whatever, so we managed to show them we could do it without contact, just because we're sensible. But then the overtake going into Tower on the first lap was a mistake from Ian, and to be honest, he done exactly the same to me just after the safety car. So 2 errors, 2 places.
Ian did say quickly before that was a bit of a revenge overtake on that, but very quickly, any thoughts on what happened with the safety car?
In terms of what happened?
Oh, sorry. Just very quickly, the safety car, did you think this is going to slow me down? Ian's going to get the jump on us?
I was sort of happy, relished the break a little bit. I thought the car was getting a bit hot, so tyres wise. So I thought it'd be a nice way to cool it down, just to keep hold a position. But we didn't manage it enough. They were too cold on the restart.
So this is the first time you've been on podium since Fruxton last year. Are you excited to be back? Is this the start of something?
Yeah, I hope so. Resurgence, hopefully. We've had nothing but bad luck for the start of the year with engines and several different things, but now we're back on track. We had the pace at Snetterton. Just couldn't show it properly, or get the results anyway. We showed the pace, so hopefully we can go back now, have a good end of the year.
Fantastic. Well, we wish you the best of luck for the rest of this weekend.
Thank you very much.
Huge congratulations, back on the podium. Is this the start of how you want the rest of the season to go on?
I'd like it to, but we had a bit of bad luck in quali. We had a puncher, so I managed 2 hot laps and managed to put it on 6. So I was quite happy with that. I mean, I'm quite happy. I was in the 5th position, just sitting back really, and I thought I'd let it to them, see what they do and see which way they go. Hold back and pick up the pieces. And luckily that's how it turned out, so I'll take that. Similar sort of thing to Snetterton, really. And if that carries on, I'm happy.
Race 2 is about to get underway for the BMW Compact Cup, and after a very drama-filled first race, Stephen Daly won't be making it out for this round, which leaves Ian Jones pole position. Tom Griffiths, the man who's currently 2nd in the standings, is down in 4th, so he's going to have to put a lot of legwork in to make sure he's making up those points. But very quickly, Stephen, how are you feeling?
Very sore at the minute. My wrist took quite a bashing, and my car's took quite a bashing as well. So I don't see the point in starting from 30th on the grid and trying to make my way up to get no points anyway. So I don't see the point in risking it. So best of luck to all these guys that are racing. They stayed on the track. They finished the first race. They deserve to be here. So let's see what they can do.
Brilliant. Yes, we'll second that. So with that, we're going to hand it straight over to Andy to run you through the rest of the grid.
Well, good to hear that Stephen is more or less okay. A shame that he won't be out there, but this is a golden opportunity now for Ian Jones and Matt Park, starting from the front row of the grid again, to get some good points. Flint and Griffiths row 2, Sharp and McMillan row 3, then Mark Skeets and David May, with Mikey Doble and Keith Towers on row 5. Mike Doble is up a bit further on the grid this time around, whilst there are a couple to watch for further back. Oliver Fowler in particular, from 7th on the grid, should be able to move forward from there. We know that he had top 3 pace in this morning's first race. Aaron Morgan had a spin in the previous race. He will start alongside Phil Adcock in the 11th row of the grid, and then Ben Huntley from the 15th row, 29th, nearly right at the back of the grid, with Paul Maguire back there as well. 2 quick drivers, both of whom had dramas in the previous race. Stephen Daly will be a non-starter, Tom Langford possibly the same from the back of the grid. Race 1 was very entertaining. What will race 2 have in store for us? Well, straight away it's a good start made by Parks from the outside of row 1. While further back, it's getting very congested as usual on the run to Clervaux corner, and if you see a gap you have to go for it, and John King did not quite close that gap quick enough, and so up the inside went Aaron Morgan into the first corner. Speaking of the first corner, it's Parks that gets there first, Jones is 2nd, Flint 3rd, side by side for 4th then, locking up further back from our Skeets, and Keith Towers sees the chance to get up the inside. These are 2 of our top Masters contenders doing battle already in the first couple of corners. So Parks then leads the way out of the chicane for the first time. Now with the number 18 car, or 81 I should say, 18 by the first time, of Oliver Fowler going down the back straight. That's Matt Flowers in front of us, who's going up the inside there, and so we're going to try and follow him through. That's Rhys Claydon losing 1, losing 2 places at Tower Corner, because Oliver Fowler, I'm sure, will get a better exit and should be able to keep his foot in it going into the Jim Clark S's to move up 1 more spot. So it's been a good start from Fowler, but how high up the order will he be able to get over just 15 minutes of racing? Parks leads then, Jones 2nd, Flint going with them. Again, impressive pace here from Wayne Flint, we've seen on multiple occasions this year. With Aaron Morgan now, the more motorsport car. ears.
Oh, love to
Sunny.
sunny.
The car in front running a bit wide there, but there was no way through. What's been a slightly calmer start to the race this time around. There's still a few cars having issues, though. We'll see when the braking. It's a very bumpy circuit. This has been freshly resurfaced for 2019, but it's still got its bumpy nature, which actually adds a lot of character and a lot of challenge to the circuit. And the drivers may be a little surprised by that as they've arrived here this weekend. Fallon, now it's Matt Flowers who's still in front of us then, interestingly. Been able to find a way past him yet. To the left-hand side of the car immediately in front of across the start-finish line, and that will put Fowler onto the outside line now, going into Clairvaux. On board with the youngster again. Can he fight his way across to the apex? No, I don't think he will be able to. Meanwhile, David Sharp, fresh off the back of his best ever finish, 5th place in race number 1. Still down a couple of positions here in the early stages, but still having a strong showing again as Oliver Fowler. Yeah, that outside line did not work. He's a bit out of sorts through the chicane as well. That won't give him a particularly good exit onto the back straight. He's wasting time now that he needs to be trying to make progress now. Otherwise, within 10 cars or so are going to start getting away. Close for a dive at the inside of Tower. The answer appears to be no. You can hear the car scraping across the curb and the dirt on the inside of Tower corner there. Short-ish run towards the Jim Clark S's, where the leaders are nose to tail, with a similar situation to that we saw at the start of yesterday's race, with Ian Jones massively applying the pressure to the race leader Matt Parks. Meanwhile, Oliver Fowler is up the inside there and gaining another place. That reached Sutherland, I think, possibly, that he went past. So Fowler is now creeping up towards that top 10. 2 places gained there. He won through Sunny. That's a difficult part of the track to overtake as well. So Fowler really moving forward now. The leaders there, Jones still stuck behind Matt Parks. Now, Jones will know the significance of a race victory in this race as far as his championship aspirations are concerned. He will also know, though, that he can't afford to make any contact. Second place is still worth 37 points. The win is worth over 3 points more than that, so if he has to settle for second, it's still 37 points more than Stephen Daly is scoring. But remember that these 2 races will become 2 of Stephen's 3 dropped scores, so he will be dropping significantly fewer points now than he was previously, where coming into this weekend he was dropping 3 lots of 37 points because second place had been his worst finish this year. He'd had 3 second place finishes coming into 2019. It of course now means that he can start counting 2 of those, so he essentially gains 64 points that he otherwise was having to drop. So for Jones to gain anything out of this, he has to try and sort of win these 2 races and score more than those 64 points, and this might be his opportunity because the race leader Matt Parks runs onto the grass coming out of Tower. And also running wide here is Mark Skeets, who's got Keith Towers still breathing down his neck. And backwards now from Keith as he heads towards Jim Clark S's. That's Mikey Doble, I think, behind us with the yellow wing mirrors. Doble Jr., that would be them. Towers hammering the curb. You can really see the speed building up through this part of the track. Also how hard the drivers are having to work to keep the cars on the road, and Matt Flowers nearly is off the road there. That was a big slide right in front of Oliver Fowler, who did not hesitate for a split second. He was straight up the inside and gains the position, but that was scary stuff at the fastest part of the track. We saw what happened in race 1 to Ben Huntley and Oliver Fowler, of course, so Oliver knows well what happens when you get that corner wrong. Leader though, not putting a foot wrong yet, although, well, I say that's a lie, isn't it, because he just made that mistake in Tower, but he's held on to the lead at least. Oh, Fowler sideways now through the hairpin. This is a fired up Oliver Fowler that we're seeing here, determined to try and salvage something from the weekend that promised so much. And if you'd have told him when on the grid at the start of race 1 that he would end up finishing that first race down in 17th, he would have been very miffed with that indeed. That was a nice move though, up the inside into Clairvaux, and that was David May going up the inside. Now, David May appears to have a whole new left-hand side on that car. That will no doubt be his legacy of the contact that he had at Snetterton. And speaking of contact, Wayne Flint and Mark Skeets make contact, and Keith Towers ends up going across the runoff area. And Flint is slow on the exit of the chicane. So Wayne Flint, for the 2nd meeting in a row, has a promising run come to an end with mechanical failure, but this has brought Oliver Fowler into play now as well. And Oliver goes right round the outside of 2 cars into Tower corner. Skeets, though, is not going to let him have it that easily. Just shuffles across to the edge of the road and keeps him behind. But Oliver Fowler now getting himself well and truly embroiled in what is the battle for the lead of the Masters category. David May, Mark Skeets, Keith Towers all together. Wayne Flint, of course, who's not a Masters contender, but often finds himself racing against them, it seems. The white car from the distance is David May. He's leading the Masters class at the moment. Towers second, Wayne Flint third. They're the two cars immediately in front of Oliver Fallow, who is all arms and elbows coming through Sunny out, but that seemed like it shouldn't have been a quick exit from the corner, but it actually seems to be a really good exit. He's almost alongside Skeets into the final complex. It's hard to overtake, but if you can outfox the car in front, force a mistake, then you can make a move stick. I don't think that's going to work for Fallow on this occasion, though. He's leading to them. Across the start-finish line. Race leader still, Matt Parks, fending off Jones for now. We're back with Fallow, who indeed has not been able to get past the yellow car and Mark Skeet, but is looking to the inside again. They're all starting to catch David May once more. This is all getting closer and closer together as they flick through Clervaux Corner once again into the second half of this second race of just two this weekend. First time this year we've only had the two races. Jim Barrett, unfortunately, is not going to make it to the end of his second race. He's off down at Sunny. Looked like it had all the hallmarks of a mechanical issue, though, rather than off. Back straight then. That's the stricken car of Wayne Flint there to the left. He'll be really disappointed with the way that his season's panning out after some really promising pace this year. Has not yielded the best of results. Oh, Mark Skeets there. That was an interesting attempt to get together. Brakes, he's slow off the corner, and Fallow sees a gap and keeps on coming. That was nicely done there, and I'm surprised in a way that Skeets did not feel the need to move over and defend that harder. Fallow then moves up another position now. We do about Keith Towers and David May in front of him. That is the next question. Sunny. Sit and watch this on board all day. It's a real elbows out driving style from Fallow. As you'd expect, I suppose, for someone who I imagine has a fair bit of karting background before moving into cars in the BMW Compact Cup. So it is very much a karting driving style, and well, Keith Towers, that was a rally driving style there, going through the complex. A big tail slide, but it has held him up, unfortunately. It means that Fallow is immediately latched onto his rear bumper, and look at the view looking back from Keith Towers at the swarm of cars that are starting to assemble behind him now. Fallow pulls to the outside line, down into Clervaux, gets his nose in front now. If he can be super brake on the brakes, he might be able to make this stick, and he does. Oliver Fallow with the novice cross on his car, but he's too late on the brakes. He goes into the gravel. Oh, Fallow, well, I said that he had to be late on the brakes to make that one work, and in the end he couldn't get the car stopped, and is lucky to only lose one place, because look, everyone else is queuing up behind as well. Skeets, Doble, I think that's Matt Flowers, all nose to tail. Have dirt on his tyres, but that didn't seem to slow him down out of the chicane. He's already back in the tow again, heading towards Tower. Go to the inside if there's a gap, and there is a gap, and again he's super late under braking, and this time I think he might get the car stopped better into the right-hander, and he does. Towers tries to fight back though, wheel to wheel, maybe towards Jim Clark Estes, but no, he backs back out of it again. Towers past, he will no doubt go for every position that he can on the track. He's also aware that really his primary objective is to win the Masters category, which at the moment he's not doing actually, he's second in the Masters. But if maybe he lets Fallow go, then Oliver might be able to catch David May, who is in the Masters class. Oh, never mind, Fallow's off anyway. Fallow's off the road again. Well, that arms and elbows driving style did look like it was rather a risky approach, and unfortunately that's two off-track excursions in the space of a lap. He needs to be careful not to attract the attention of the clerk of the course with that sort of driving, as spectacular as it is. You can get in trouble for running off the track too much, not just for track limits offences, but driving standards in general. But it's still been mightily entertaining to watch, and no complaints from me. Towers then, fluffy dice flapping around right in front of our camera through the hairpin. Some sort of good luck charm, one has to assume. He's been better in this race because he really should be behind Fallow by now, but Oliver, every time he gets through, seems to throw it off the road at the next opportunity. Speaking of going off the road, that is number 22, Nick Edmond, I think, that was off on the run into the complex there. Towers again, though. Hawthorne. You can see how easy it is to clip those tyres. Now back with the race leaders. Ian Jones not letting Matt Parks breathe for a second, and Matt again is a bit wide out of Tower. Definitely could have got him in trouble for track limits, but it also will hurt your traction out of one of the tightest corners on the track, and possibly allow Jones to challenge into the second half of the lap, but no, it's still Parks that leads when we next see them. Jones is there though, and he's looking to the inside into Sonny. Parks though just shimmies over to the middle of the road. That slows him down through the middle part of the corner, but it doesn't really matter because it's closed off that opportunity to overtake into Sonny for Ian Jones behind him. Ian now starting to run out of time a little bit. He went well into the second half of the race, and he's starting now to get a bit more desperate here. Looks to the inside, then to the outside, gets a bit sideways as well. Matt Parks fending him off, or is he? Jones looks to the inside into the hairpin. There might just be a BMW-sized gap, but no. Matt Parks is having none of it. Gets over to the inside to defend. Jones is quicker through the corner, but Parks knows exactly where to place that car. And Ian Jones is not having this all his own way here in race number 2. Back across the line. First and second places, as close as you like. Oh, Nick Edmonds off again, and is having to reverse back onto the track. I think that's down at Tower. And there we are. Nice three-point turn now. He'll be back on his way, but he was already pretty much at the back of the field before his second exploratory mission off the track. Hopefully we won't see a similar fate befall either of these two, because they're putting on a great show at the front of the field now. Parks and Jones. Ian Jones back in the slipstream now as they head towards Tower. Towers, meanwhile, still defending busily. So too Parks, though, who goes to the inside of the road into Tower corner. Jones again looking to try and get the over-under, get the switch back on the exit. Can't get to the right-hand side of the road, but there's a gap down the left, is there? And he might have actually played that to perfection. Can Ian Jones get alongside into the Jim Clark S's? No. Matt Parks is still going to hang on to the race lead, and Ian Jones now is starting to run out of tricks, really. He's tried everything. He's tried the late lunge, he's tried the switchback, he's tried forcing mistakes out of Matt Parks, and nothing is working. Matt Parks is managing somehow to hang on to the lead of the race. Matt has not won a race yet in 2019 either, so it's about time, he'll be thinking, that he managed to do something about that. Towers and Mark Skeets, meanwhile, still battling hard over second place in the Masters contingent, with Paul Maguire not far behind them now either, starting to close in, also a Masters driver. Oh, there's a bigger gap this time, is there, into the hairpin? No. Ian Jones didn't want to risk the contact. He's been caught out by driving standards disqualifications in the past, which have derailed his championship campaigns. Through though onto what is potentially going to be the final lap, is it? There's a board being held out now. There might actually be a driving standards board. So we're getting into the closing stages of the race now then. And Keith Towers still enjoying this battle with Mark Skeets, but Paul Maguire is, well, in fact, off first of all, has gone 90 on that will be, which is Craig Arkell.
Lots of people spinning and overtaking here.
Through Clervaux again, and Keith Towers with Flint, with Skeets all over him. Parks though with a similar issue, and this time he locks up into Tower corner. Surely he won't get the car stopped on this occasion. Drifts a bit wide of the apex. Ian Jones sees his chance to get up the inside line, and this time surely he won't back out of it as they run towards the Jim Clark S's once again. Skeets and Towers are also side by side. You don't know where to look in this race. Another typical Nankang Tyres BMW Compact Cup encounter, and Skeets has thrown that away now onto the grass down at Tower corner. But Ian Jones, look, he's through, he's into the race lead, so Ian Jones has finally managed to prise the door open, and in the end it was the force a mistake out of Matt Parks' tactic that worked, and they're making contact now, nose to tail, in between the two parts of Sonny, and Parks is a bit miffed with that, I think. He's really pushing the car to its limit now to try and get this place back. But Jones is ahead, Ian Jones ahead then of Matt Parks, and Jones looking for another race victory. Started the season off, remember, with 3 wins in a row. Took his 4th of the season in race 1, and now can he hang on to the flag to win race number 2 here at Croft? While Matt Parks has a good exit from the final hairpin. I don't think he's going to be able to get alongside though, and the checkered flag is waiting for them this time, so it was a timely move for Ian Jones, and his second double race victory of the season, after the same as he achieved at Brands Hatch at the start of the year, will now surely move him closer to Stephen Daly in the points. Parks is second, Griffiths third, with May 4th, taking the Masters victory. With Towers 5th, second place in the Masters category. Paul Maguire got ahead of Mark Skeets for third. Just further back, there was some great battling going on amongst the midfielders, as always there is in the BMW Compact Cup. Retirements list, though, is fairly lengthy. Gordon McMillan, James Stanbury, Wayne Flint, Jim Barrett, David Sharp and Ray McDowell all failing to finish. In fact, McDowell did finish but was excluded from the result, whilst Huntley, Daly and Langford were non-starters, and Ian Jones also gets the bonus of the fastest lap in what has been the perfect weekend for Jones. So championship-wise then, here is how it looks. This is not including drop scores. That will come into account after this round, but Tom Griffiths is now in the outright lead with Mark Skeet second and Ian Jones third, but Daly will come back in.
Right, so congratulations on the win. Parks was really making you work for that, wasn't he?
Yeah, I didn't think I was going to get it, if I'm honest. I sort of didn't settle for second, but it was he was quick in one part of the track and I was quick on the far side, but there were double yellows out for a lot of the race, so kind of had to give him a gap. The last 2 laps he made the same mistake at Tower. Second from last lap I got the run right round the outside of him, but I had to go off the track, so it's only fair to give it back. Then I went the other side of him for the next lap and got him.
Mistake going to the Tower in the last lap, it kind of ruined your race a bit for you after all the hard work you did. How did that work out for you?
I wouldn't say ruined it, because it was a great race from start to finish, the fastest we've gone all weekend. It's a little bit disappointing, but we're racing hard. You know, this, like I'm sure Ian said, you make a small mistake in one of these things, so evenly matched. There's, you know, and that was my weakest corner as well. So me going in, making a mistake, it was probably his strongest corner. Put the two together, you're on the back foot. So my mistake, completely my mistake, but we live from it.
So a bit of difficulty getting off the line, but you fought back through that. How'd you find the race?
Yeah, it was a pretty characteristic bad start. It seems to be sort of a trait of mine at the moment. Once we got up behind Dave Sharp and Wayne Flint and picking our way through, it was good. Once past that, it was probably as lonely a race as you can have in the Compact Cup.
Yeah, it was a bit quiet during the midpoint of the race. Were you hoping that first and second would take each other out or foul each other somehow?
I was hoping that at least sort of hold themselves up, start battling together, but it didn't happen. I think these two have got enough respect for each other that they managed to gap and keep the gap. Yeah, you just couldn't make that gap up once they'd made it.
So being the 2018 Masters champion, you're keeping your record going by winning this Masters race?
By look of chance, really. A few people dropped off and gave me the opportunity just to get a bit of a gap behind everybody. But this year, it's so hard to maintain the Masters. Everybody wants it.
And you've got to work hard as well. The paint still looks wet on that car. You must be working hard to get it going.
It has. It got finished Tuesday after we destroyed it at Snetterton, and it's taken all this time to get back together again. A few things need doing on it, and hopefully we'll get it back onto where it should be, right at the front.